Good morning and happy weekend. We are back in the saddle. I'm Brian Main along with Tiger Palafox. John Bagnasco is off this week visiting family in Idaho. There we go. Just cut off my laptop audio. Anyway, John is in Idaho visiting family. We wish him a good time. He is back next week. In the meantime, Tiger and I are going to hold down the fort here on Garden America for your Saturday morning. Hope you had a good week. And as we look forward to the weekend, we thought we would start things off with some gardening information. A great guest today and a chance to get our hands a bit dirty in our proverbial soil. Tiger, if there is such a thing. What do you think?
You know, and we chose the weekend that John is not here to do our technological advances.
Yeah, we have more cameras in the studio, as you can probably see.
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching on Facebook Live, we've got a new video setup where we can adjust our camera angles a little bit differently, do different shots within the studio. So Brian and I are trying to work through this, and it's actually probably better that John isn't here because that would probably just throw them all out of whack.
And not to get too technical, but normally we are hardwired into the system. Today we are not. We are flying by the seat of our pants on Wi-Fi. We all know how squirrely Wi-Fi can be. So we're hoping that this signal is going to continue, and by next week or so we will be back to our Ethernet connection.
Yeah, hopefully. Exactly.
Right?
So, but it'll be fun. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happy Saturday. How's it going?
I'm excited. I look forward to getting together with you guys on the weekends.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
This is my little 2 hours of a lot of fun. It's like as a kid going to a carnival.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it,
and it's a fun topic today. We're going to be talking about chickens with an author that's wrote many books on chickens and cooking and all kinds of wonderful stuff. And at the nursery, we have chickens.
You do, which is my favorite part of your nursery, and I've told you that. I love it.
And that's just it, right? Is who doesn't love a chicken, right? In the sense of, you go, you see them.
You mean eating a chicken? Who doesn't love eating a chicken?
Eating them. Seeing them,
having them lay eggs,
everything about chicken is wonderful. Kids eat it, where they won't eat other stuff, but every kid eats chicken.
Sure.
But it's just so funny because I feel like chickens are also the equivalent to a deer. Deer are not uncommon creatures, but when you see one, you get excited.
Yeah, that's true. And same way with chickens, right?
Same thing with chicken. It's
right. Now, John has chickens, right?
John has chickens. I mean, I'd say even people in the city, it's kind of hard to go a week or two without seeing a chicken somewhere.
Right.
But you still get excited.
In whatever state that it's in.
But you still get excited when you see it.
Sure.
And then nowadays, with the whole craze of chickens, there's all these varieties that just look really unique and different. And I think it just makes people excited to see chickens again because, oh, wow, that one looks like it has pants on, or that one has a weird headdress.
They're also very different with the little feathers hanging down and the ones that have the feathers within their little feet.
Yeah. What are those? What are the talons?
Talons, I guess, yeah. It's a bird. Talons.
Is that a talon there?
And you have a lot of varieties of chickens.
We try.
At your nursery.
Yeah, and that's just what makes it kind of fun and unique is seeing the different varieties. And they all have little personalities as well. So
absolutely, like any animal would.
Yeah.
I have fish at home. They've all got different personalities.
That is true. You do talk about the fish personality.
They really do.
And that amazes me.
There's an alpha in the tank. And there's ones that follow. There's ones that are shy. There's ones that are the first ones up for the food. There's the ones that wait for the food to drop. So, yeah, every animal, every entity has a personality, as well as chickens. And that's going to be our topic today. We're going to be talking with Lisa Steele about chickens.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, question, and I don't know if you know the answer to this.
I'll make one up if I don't know the answer.
But in that Finding Nemo, and it talks about Dory doesn't have a memory.
Right.
Is that all fish?
I don't. They say that goldfish have a 2-minute memory. I don't know.
But because
I don't know.
No.
I think they're shortchanging fish. Because
I would prefer to live like that.
Because and I'll tell you why. Because I don't want to say trained, but my fish know that when I come up to feed them, they know which side of the tank to go.
So they have to have a memory then because they wouldn't know that.
So I guess I could say I've conditioned them. That's a better word. When I walk into the room toward the tank, all the fish go to that side of the tank that I normally lift the lid and feed them. Okay, so they remembered that.
And that's daily.
And that's
so
daily.
That's at least 24 hours.
So they know. Yeah. So, no, I think they can remember more than 2 minutes.
I wanted to ask anybody watching on Facebook Live right now. I haven't checked any comments, but I want to check to see how audio is going, how the video shots are doing, because we're trying to do the show at the same time as manage this show. So
yeah, let us know in the comments if everything looks good. Now again, we're on Wi-Fi. We're hoping that the audio stream doesn't suddenly freeze up, but if it does, we are ready for that. New cameras. We have 3 cameras now in the studio to give you better shots and to make the program a little bit better for you, to enhance things as we continue with our horticultural enthusiasts who are tuned in this morning.
Hey, Gina says John is watching from Idaho.
John is watching from Idaho.
He's going to be double checking any kind of things we comment on regarding plants.
Yeah, absolutely, to make sure we've got the right information.
Yeah, make sure we don't talk roses.
Maybe I should call John after our guest and have him on, and he can talk about what's happening in Idaho. Yeah. And if he's able to buy any plants up there, which I think was one of his...
he did.
Which is something he wanted to do.
He might be paying for a shipping company to bring them all back.
Now, we have to tell John, too, when he comes back next week, because we have these different shots, he's going to have to go into makeup, which is not something he had to worry about before. So, John, you'll need to get here about 20 minutes earlier, get into the green room, get the makeup on, and you'll be ready to go.
That would be so fun. If we were that well versed here at Garden America.
So anyway, speaking of chickens, you have a quote. The quote of the week is from Martina Navratilova, the ex-tennis player, world champion.
I love that you were able to say that name.
I have years and years of repeating it. Martina Navratilova.
Oh, wow. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, this is a good one. I like this one that John found. The difference between involvement and commitment is like ham and eggs. The chicken is involved. The pig is committed.
That's a great quote. Martina Navratilova, of all people.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for finding that, John.
I got to look up that quote to see where it was used in context, because, she's a tennis player.
Right. So
I'm obviously talking about probably her practice, her
tennis,
her desire to play.
Right, sure.
That she was basically saying at some point in time, probably she's all in.
Right.
And she's the pig. So
John does a good job finding these quotes. One of these days I'm going to say something prolific and say, John, would you use my quote?
Yeah.
I want to say something prolific. I want it written down, John. I want you to I want you to quote us.
See, I'm like the goldfish because I don't remember whatever I say. It just comes out, and then I'm just.
You have to watch the show back.
What did I say 2 minutes ago?
2 minutes ago. Okay, so Lisa Steele's going to be our guest today, going to be talking about chickens. And I know a lot of our viewers and listeners have chickens. They've been around chickens. John has chickens. Chickens are everywhere.
Right. So, it's going to be fun to chat with her. And we're going to be not just chatting about chickens, but in the yard. Because that's the thing is, I'm aware chickens at our nursery, they damage a lot of plants as well. So we have to be very careful. And anybody that has chickens knows this too, that they aren't something that, I can just leave them and let them roam, because your flowers could be eaten.
Right. So what do they try to go after at your nursery?
A lot of seedlings. So any of that fresh new growth, they will go after. I mean, they don't, obviously things that they are supposed to stay away from, they do. But sometimes we have ground cover grown in those flats, and it's always like a seedling state. They will dig up and eat a lot of our ground cover. So we have to be very careful with that. But the funny thing is, too, is they kind of like your goldfish the chickens, when we're moving stuff around the nursery or when customers are shopping, they will follow people, because when you move a potted can at a nursery, a lot of times underneath it,
there's
smart. Worms, there's pill bugs, there's earwigs. They're all underneath those damp, moist areas. And so the chickens will just follow people around and be like hoping they're going to pick up something so they can go in there and figure out what's underneath that pot.
Veronica says they love kale.
Yes, they do.
Chickens love kale.
Do,
yeah, thank you for that one, Veronica. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, so you do have to be careful on, but at the same time, unlike a coyote or a raccoon or, mice, they're very easy to control. A little bit of fencing or a little bit of, netting. And
they're very smart. They're very smart, aren't they?
I think they are.
Yeah.
I mean, so, I don't know. Maybe we'll talk to Lisa and see
how smart they are.
What the intelligence of a chicken is.
What is the smartest thing she's ever seen a chicken do? And, of course, we welcome your questions, your comments during the interview with Lisa Steele talking about chickens this morning. Anything else garden-related, too, let us know. Tiger, myself, John in Idaho, visiting family. He's back next week with our new setup here in the studio. John, it's very exciting, so thank you. Also want to thank our IT guy, Daniel, who works behind the scenes all the
Yeah.
time to keep the website up, which, by the way, is gardenamerica.com. Go to our website. We want traffic. Click on, check it out. Also, our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show. So I think at this point in time, we'll take a break, our first break of the morning or afternoon, depending upon where you are. Bring our guest Lisa on, Lisa Steele. And again, talking chickens. We said that probably 100 times this morning. So we're going to take our first break at the end of segment number 1. Segment 2 right around the corner. Also, those tuned in to BizTalk Radio, we've got some great messages for you to listen to. Our sponsors, back after these messages on BizTalk Radio, Facebook Live. All righty, welcome back to the show. Those on BizTalk Radio, thank you for listening to our great sponsors. Those on Facebook Live watching us get a hold of our guest, Lisa Steele. She is ready to go. And again, questions, comments while we talk to Lisa right there on Facebook Live. What are the advantages of watching us and listening to us on Facebook Live? That said, Tiger, going to turn things over to you. Lisa Steele is ready to go.
Yeah, our guest this morning is Lisa Steele. She's a author, radio personality, TV personality, and the creator of the blog, The Fresh Eggs Daily. Lots of great information. She lives in Maine, where she's a master gardener, and with her girls, mixed flocks about 30 hens, ducks, and geese at the same time. Oh my gosh, all of them together, Lisa, that is one heck of a farm. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing well. Now you're in Maine with all of these animals, and I'm assuming in Maine you have to protect them during the wintertime. Is that right?
Hang on, you're really, really fast.
You said we're fast?
Hang on, let me see if I can.
Are you on
I think I have my volume up all the way.
Are you on a speakerphone?
Did you hear us, Lisa?
Yeah,
Are you on a speakerphone?
It's a little bit better now.
Yeah, Lisa, are you on a speakerphone?
Yeah, I'm on my cell phone.
Okay, if you take it off speaker, if
Right.
it's that, sometimes that'll help.
Is that better?
Well, we can hear you just fine. We want to make sure that you can hear us, Lisa.
Yeah.
How's that?
Is that good? Okay.
Oh, I think we lost her
Are
now.
Lisa, are you still there? Okay.
All right. You want to try to get her?
I can try to hook up, and
Yeah.
this is where a good ad-libber on the radio and Facebook Live comes into play.
Why would you put me on the spot like that, Brian? That's just setting me up.
Because you can talk about a lot of things. So I'm going to try to get a hold of Lisa while Tiger, talk about anything you want to. Chickens, nursery. We're heading into it's going to be summer.
I like how you're leading me on here.
It's going to be, I'm trying to give you a foundation of what to talk about.
Thanks.
So we're heading into summer.
Yeah.
There's still some things people need to be doing.
Yeah.
No matter what part of the country you're in.
And I feel bad because one of the things that John was really worried about before he left was the temperature changing here in San Diego. And it was a beautiful, cool, beginning of the week, and then we've now transitioned into solid 85-degree days. And for those of you following the news at all, also saw that up in Laguna Niguel, there was a serious canyon fire that led to a community having some homes that were affected by that as well and burned. And that's the thing that is a challenge here in Southern California, is that we can have these temperature switches, but it's not so much that it gets so hot, but that hot, dry wind. And so, I know I've been out there watering because of that at the, this week. And, I'm sure John has his staff working out on his ranch, making sure that all the roses are well tended to.
John has a staff, huh?
Yeah, he does, and I'm sure he's calling them and checking in on them and making sure that all those roses are well tended to, because he's got such a unique collection that we would not want to lose anything.
Right, and that's always his concern when he leaves.
Yeah.
Trusting the people to take care of the watering.
Yeah.
And let's face it, I don't care who you are, nobody takes care of your garden like you do.
But the thing, I don't, John uses excellent potting soils. He uses Ocean Forest,
right,
and he uses Happy Frog. Both of them are excellent potting soils. But the one thing he does favor over most potting soils is he likes them to be a little bit better draining. But because they're better draining, you have to water more often,
right,
because they don't hold moisture. But that just means when he's not around, he's got to make sure that people water for him as much as he does. Because like you just said, nobody takes care of your yard like you do, right?
And it's better to have good drainage and water more than not to have good drainage and have those roots sitting in that pot, or if you don't have good drainage in your outside soil and just rotting away. You want good drainage.
Or you just don't water as much, and that way when you do go away for a few days to visit some family, you don't have to worry so much about that soil drying out. Because I get plants from John every so often, and so do you. And I found that those plants do require more water.
They do.
Because he puts, well-draining soil in there.
But when he gives you those plants, they're ready to go.
Oh, they're amazing.
They're probably in the best condition they're going to be in.
Ever.
Yeah. I mean, we can take care of them, but John, he sets it up, really good. It roses, whatever we've received from John in the past.
Exactly. So, right now in Southern California, we're dealing with some hot, dry winds. So that's very dangerous for us in a fire standpoint, but also in a yard standpoint. But I will say also, if you water in the kind of late afternoon after the winds have died, having that water sit overnight in that yard is wonderful, because it just soaks into the ground. It stays where the root system can absorb it. And the next morning, all the plants are perked and ready to go.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people say, oh, well, they can water again later in that day. But it just doesn't – you're only getting half the water. Because evaporation, if you have to, definitely water in the middle part of the day. But – the plants are only getting half of the water because evaporation is taking the other half.
Right. Now, I'm going to get a hold of Lisa again in our next break.
Okay.
So we'll continue this segment. She didn't pick up. Maybe she's, getting things organized on her end. It is always better when we have guests that they're on either a landline or off the speaker.
Yeah.
That's the best connection. So, because I'm anxious to talk about these chickens.
And, and being in Maine, never know. I mean, she's the farthest from us that you can possibly be, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have a lot of great things with technology, but you just, that's kind of funny, right? That she is the farthest away from us possible right now.
You betcha.
In the United States.
Hey, thank you for those tuned in on Facebook. We do see you. We see your names. Also those whose names we don't see, because every now and then I'll run into somebody and they'll say, yeah, I tune into your show now and then. And I'll say, I never see your name. So there's a lot of people that we're not even aware of that do tune in, and I want to thank you. And also thank those listening on Biz Talk Radio. Okay, by the way, we've got just a couple of minutes before our next break. Questions, comments, whatever you want to talk about here. Yes, the topic is going to be chickens today with Lisa Steele, but keeping that in mind, we can go in any direction you want to. As things do begin to warm up across the country here in San Diego, last couple of days into the 80s. And I know it's going to be another hot one before too long. So, again, good watering. Got to change your watering habits now as the weather does change, which is exactly what Tiger was talking about.
Rick said he took a trip to Washington and he got a new product called Seacoast Compost from Washington. And he said, check it out.
So, Rick, what do you know about that so far? Something new we haven't heard? I haven't heard about that, have you?
It's a biodynamic. So biodynamic is just the term that they use for when they mix in the raw materials and they work together. They're going to mix in different manures that will then charge the soil. So it's alive. It's a live compost.
There's a lot happening in there.
Exactly.
Just like underground, there's a lot going on, a lot of biodiversity underground.
It's crafted from the finest of the sea and land. It's got a picture of a whale, so it might have whale poop in there.
How about that, huh? Hey, that said, we're going to take a break. During the break, I'm going to get a hold of Lisa Steele again so we can talk about chickens. Those on Biz Talk Radio, thank you so much for tuning in. And by the way, those on Biz Talk Radio, you can catch our show live, Facebook Live, every Saturday, 6 minutes after 8 Pacific Time, 11:06 Eastern Time Zone to actually interact with us. And again, that's Garden America Radio show. And, of course, our website, gardenamerica.com. Daniel wants us to remember to urge you to go to our website, gardenamerica.com, and yes, www. You know the rest. That said, we're going to take a break. Back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. Welcome back to Garden America. Hope you enjoyed that break. If you're on Biz Talk Radio, those on Facebook Live, they can actually watch us. You can watch us during the break, whatever we're doing. So we have to remember to behave ourselves. So we are back. I'm Brian Main, along with Tiger Palafox, John visiting family in Idaho, and probably watching right now. Hope things are going well for you. Still trying to get a hold of Lisa. We're going to do our best. Tiger sent her a text because we do want to get her on to talk about chickens. In the meantime, questions, comments, whatever's on your mind here on this lovely Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, depending upon where you are. And do you have the Rick's question up there, Tiger?
I do now.
Hinoki, is it? He wants to know about, is it Hanoki Cyprus?
Let me see here. No, I don't see that one.
He picked up a fern-leaf Japanese Hanoki Cyprus and wants to know about that particular species.
Oh, okay.
And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Hinoki?
Hinoki, the Hanoki Cyprus. Oh, okay.
Right.
You know what? I am not familiar with that one. I don't know if that one. Let me see if I pull it up here.
I wonder if it's regional.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks like it might be something that could be regional, and that's neat that he was able dwarf Hanoki Cyprus. I don't know if I've seen those ones around here. Native to Japan and East Asia.
Yeah, I don't know that I have either.
Yeah, more in the northern hemisphere. So I'm sorry, Rick. I'm not too familiar with that particular one.
Maybe we should ask Rick what little he knows about it.
Yeah.
And why you purchased that, Rick, and what led you to that purchase. Because
that's an interesting question. Why, why did he purchase something that he didn't know?
Unless he knew just a little bit about it, and then wants to know about how to care for it.
Yeah.
Because native to Japan, Southeast Asia.
And it's very versatile. It says it could be a bonsai. There could be dwarf varieties.
Right.
There's large tree ones.
Or if somebody listening and watching our show knows about it, let us know about it.
Yeah, it's fun when you go to a garden center and you see something that you aren't familiar with and you just want to have.
Because it's unusual and different.
And then you buy it. Then you got to figure out what to do with it.
Well, that's just it. You buy it first and figure out how to take care of it later, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's always fun to be able to go shopping and see the new things. I mean, and that happens to me also at the nursery. I'll go walking through the nursery and I'm like, wow, that's new.
When did we get that?
When did we? Yeah, exactly. How does this grow?
So are you, now, does any come to mind right now? Anything new that you have in the nursery that you didn't have last year or 6 months ago that you came across?
Now, one of the plants that have becoming more common is woolly bush. And
Woolly bush?
Let me try to find the name, the botanical name behind it. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but these are shrubs that have a very soft kind of look to them. Adenanthus, the
woolly bush.
Woolly bush.
Okay.
And they're becoming more and more popular lately, and so there's more and more varieties. And some of them are compact, some of them are big bushes, some of them kind of have a different coloration to the foliage, like a yellow or a red tip. And so I've been seeing more variety of those pop in. So those I've been excited about because I want those in my yard. I've tried twice.
Of course, they're new.
I've tried twice and I've killed them both.
Anything in your yard that somebody else doesn't have.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Hey, by the way, speaking of that, and I was going to mention it to John, maybe he talked about this before and I just forgot, but the Australian bottle tree, is that the common name, bottle tree?
There's, the one that you guys were talking about last week.
It's starting to bloom on top.
Really?
Right where the growth ends,
Uh-huh.
there's these like pinkish flowers.
Pretty.
And I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
That would happen.
Well, remember we talked, everything's got to, the only things that don't flower are ferns. Right? Because they produce those spores.
I never thought about it.
And we talked about everything else. It's got to flower sometime.
So, I'm getting a little bit of colorful growth.
That's fun.
And I was going to take a picture, forgot. So I'm going to do that today.
Yeah.
Today when I get home.
I was looking at the newsletter, and John put in the newsletter this week an article about spinach. And
is that the one Sharon wrote?
Yeah.
I think, it's a Sharon article from the past.
Yeah. And in the article, it talked about kind of vegetables and where spinach came from. And I was just thinking, how cool it must have been, even if it really didn't maybe taste good, how neat it must have been back in the day when there was something new because you were so used to eating the same things.
Right.
You know, when back in the day regions, they knew they can grow this. Grow corn, they grow potatoes, they grow this. So that's all they ate. So when somebody brought over a strawberry, they got excited because it was different and it was unique.
But
a tomato.
Certain things couldn't grow in all regions.
Right.
Somebody may have brought something over and they tried to plant it, they tried to harvest it, they tried to nurture it, and it just didn't work.
And it didn't work.
Until they realized, okay, then we have to trade something that we have to get that over here.
Right. And so, that must have been such fun stuff. And I'm wondering today, what kind of foods out there are still to be found where we can be like, oh,
right.
I want to have that now. Even though I can never grow it here, I still want to have it because it came from another area.
And I want to know from our listeners and viewers on Facebook, what is the one thing that you like as an adult that you couldn't stand as a child? A various food. Even you, I will tell you, when I was a kid, I hated sauerkraut.
Okay.
Could not get near it. Now you put that on a hot dog, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Trying to think of something else.
I mean, spinach is definitely one for me. When I had boiled spinach as a kid, it was a gag
turned
reflex.
Your stomach, right?
It was a gag reflex.
Now, is that your mom? She wanted you to eat that?
Yeah. I mean, your parents want you to eat healthy food, and it was boiled spinach, and it had butter and salt, and it was, but now boiled spinach, salt, pepper, butter, love it. I think it's delicious. Collard greens, same thing. So.
What about beets?
I like beets.
I haven't had beets. I don't know when the last time I had a beet.
Really? I like beets. A beet salad.
Yeah.
No?
I don't know. I've got to try beets again. It's been a long time.
I'm trying to think of what I don't like right now. What food do I not like as an adult right now? Because that's just what you just said about there's a lot of foods as a child you don't like.
Right.
And then you grow to like them as an adult.
I think I grew to like broccoli. I don't think I liked broccoli as a child.
No.
And I love broccoli now. We have it maybe 2-3 times a week.
Raw, fresh, boiled,
anything.
Steamed. Cheese broccoli, so good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
You got to spoil it by putting the cheese on there, though, right?
No,
I don't mean spoil the taste, but I mean the health.
Yeah.
Throw some cheese on that broccoli.
Yeah. Cheese broccoli. Or, nowadays it's really common to take the cauliflower and put seasoning on it and then fry it.
Mm-hmm.
So, they have cauliflower that tastes like buffalo chicken wings or.
Carol says lima beans and oatmeal.
So she likes them now,
Right.
but did not like lima beans and oatmeal back as a kid.
And Veronica did not like. She hated boiled okra. Still hates it. I don't think I've had okra ever in my life.
That could be tough. That could be tough. It made well. I liking okra, but just basic okra, no, I do not like. I don't like the just general. It's got to be kind of like we talked about with the broccoli and cheese. It's got to have something added to it.
Marguerite likes pickled beets, but not regular beets.
Really?
So dress it up a little bit, pickled, and she likes it.
Now, do you think pickled anything is the same?
Pickled cucumber, that's a pickle.
Well, that's a pickle, right?
And I
so
like it.
pickled beets.
Right.
And then you talk about, what did you just mention? Sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut.
Is pickled cabbage?
Now, I don't know if I like sauerkraut just by itself, but on a hot dog, I like it.
Anything on
Isn't
a
that
hot dog
weird?
is amazing.
On a hot dog, it's good. By itself, no. Liver. Could not stand liver as a kid.
Yeah, I can't do
Cannot
that still.
stand it now.
Yeah,
and I'll
I
tell you
can't do
something
that
funny. When I was
also.
about 10 years old, I went to my friend's house for dinner. Family was very nice to have me over, and they put it down, and potatoes, and I see this meat, maybe something else, and I said, "What is this?" It's liver. It's very good. It tastes like steak.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I dug right in, and I don't know
Committed.
how polite
You were
I was.
committed?
I'm not sure how polite I was, but when you're 10 years old, you tell the truth. And I said,
Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't want it. She says, well, take a couple of bites. It's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
You have to get used to it. And
was your friend eating it just fine?
yeah, he had two brothers. There was three kids. I think two of them liked it. The other one was kind of like me.
Yeah.
He goes, you don't want this. It's not good, And his mom says, don't talk that way. Don't talk. It's good. But the point being is that I still don't like liver, and I do like lamb. Now, lamb is another one that's got that definite
Gamey
taste.
Little.
You
yeah.
either like it or you don't like it.
Yeah.
And I've always liked lamb.
Yeah, I like lamb. I don't like liver. But a bigger question. I wonder if this dinner that you attended was a planned, because like when you think back now as an adult, you didn't think about these things as a kid. Were you attending this dinner planned, or was it just Brian's over,
Yes.
he's
No,
staying for dinner?
It was just Brian's going to spend the
Because
night. We're going to have
I'm
dinner.
also wondering who, as a parent, makes liver when they are having a guest over for dinner.
You know what? I think they were just trying to be health conscious, maybe. Try some liver. You might like it. My mother never served me liver, but I just remember that like it was yesterday. Okay, hey, it is break time. We're going to try to
Already?
get a hold of Carol. We're going to try again, do our best.
Lisa.
In the meantime, I'm sorry, Lisa. Carol was one of our Facebook viewers.
Yeah.
So, Lisa, going to get a hold of Lisa Steele talking about chickens. In the meantime, hang in there. Stay with us. Thank you for joining us. John is off this week. I'm Brian Main, along with Tiger Palafox. Thank you for tuning in to the Garden America radio show. Back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. All righty, welcome back to the show. Those on Facebook Live, thank you for your patience. We do appreciate it. Biz Talk Radio, again, you can tune in and catch us live every week, 8:06 on the West Coast, Eastern Time Zone 11:06. And you can watch, interact with us on Garden America, our live Facebook show. And, of course, all of our shows are archived on our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show. This one to be uploaded sometime early this afternoon. You can fast forward, rewind, pause, catch anything that you might have missed the first time around, or you thought it was so good you wanted to hear it again. Hear it and see it again. So still having trouble with Lisa's phone, so we're going to keep on trucking this morning along with Tiger Palafox. I'm Brian Main. We can talk chickens. We can also, if we don't get Lisa today, we can set up another time.
Yeah, definitely. And, so I do want to mention some things about chickens because, in our newsletter, if you have not subscribed to our newsletter, go to gardenamerica.com, hit the subscribe button. But chickens are a pretty good garden helper because the thing that
they get rid of bugs, a lot of bugs, right?
A ton of bugs. And, we talked about this earlier in the show that you have to be careful because they don't quite just know how to discriminate everything, but they get rid of a ton of bugs. So, good bugs that they get rid of are things like, earwigs, pill bugs, snails, slugs. If they can catch a grasshopper or cricket, they will eat and get rid of those for you as well.
And if they can catch these, ahead of time, it'll save some of your plants right?
And those are the bad bugs for your garden, but good bugs for the chickens to catch. I mean, they do also eat, earthworms. They will eat other kind of, little bugs like ladybugs and things like that. So, those are not the greatest ones, but usually those are underground or a little quicker than what they can get to. So that's beneficial. But then the other thing that's beneficial is the fertilizer that they leave behind.
Ah, yes.
And a lot of people, there are a lot of farms out there that will have these mobile chicken coops in their orchard, in their fields, where what they'll do is they'll have this big chicken coop, maybe like a 15 by 15 or larger chicken coop, where they have 20 or 30 chickens in this coop.
And they just drive around?
Well, no, it's on wheels. And what they'll do is they'll leave it in one spot for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 days or whatever, and they eat the bugs in the grass and they do their thing. And then they just kind of drag this chicken coop another 20 feet away.
Do the same thing.
And do the same thing. Well, a week after they move the chicken coop, that grass area comes back and it's greener. It's the soil is in a much better state because of all the manure, a lot of nitrogen. And so that's the way that they fertilize their field. And then, that's when their goats, cows, whatever it is that they have also come by around now. And now they eat that green grass where the chickens had just been.
And there's your cycle right there, right?
Exactly. And then they just keep moving it around. And I thought that's such a great way to take care of a field if you had one, because all you got to do is supply them with some water and a little bit of food, and you don't ever buy fertilizer again.
Pretty low maintenance, would you say, with chickens? I mean, as far as the care.
I think chickens are very low maintenance, as far as, the care. The only thing that you do have to be careful of is any kind of attacking critter, a fox, a coyote, wolves, or anything like that. So as long as your coop is in good standing and strong, then you're fine.
I saw a YouTube video this last week, speaking of that, and these people had a security camera on their backyard, and they had a lot of chickens. The chickens were out roaming around, and a fox or a coyote or something jumped in and was chasing the chickens. Well, out of the back of the coop comes this bigger chicken. He must have been the alpha chicken.
Or the rooster.
Or the rooster. The rooster. The rooster. Yeah. And he went after this coyote.
Oh, yeah.
And
Roosters are.
And ran around the coyote, and eventually the coyote said, "I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Jumped the fence. He was gone. And I said, "Good for you, rooster." I mean, that rooster was vicious.
Yeah. And roosters are aggressive. And if anybody has a farm and they have a rooster, they know to be careful. And that's why, it would have been fun to talk with Lisa a little bit this morning, too, because she has geese. And geese
and
are
ducks
very attack-oriented.
You've seen geese go after people.
Yes.
They'll fly at you.
And they're big.
Yeah, they are.
So it's not, to some degree you feel like, I could take on a rooster. It might be a bit aggressive, but at the end of the day, it's scary, but you also feel like not 100% threatened. Where if you see a geese coming at you, I'm scared.
And there's also a guy on YouTube who's got a channel with a lot of subscribers, and what he does is he gets rid of hornet nests, bees.
Okay.
And what he does, though, he takes the larva from these nests, he
And
goes home and feeds it to his chickens.
awesome.
And he has a squirrel feeding it to the squirrels as well. So again,
The squirrels eat the larva too?
I'm watching this video, and this squirrel's just going to town on the larva. So again, he's doing the recycle thing as well. You know,
Yeah.
he's utilizing everything, getting rid of the nest, but then taking the larva home to his roosters, and I guess it's his pet squirrel. I don't know.
His pet squirrel. Can you have a pet squirrel?
I guess you could. Yeah, of course. You know, especially people who rescue squirrels when they're young,
Yeah.
and they develop that bond.
Or if you have a tree in your yard and the squirrel lives in that tree,
He gets
and then
to
they
know
get
you.
to know you,
Mhm.
and you know they feel comfortable around you. I mean, I've seen where squirrels come up to people's homes where they feed them and stuff, and they get to know them and feel comfortable.
You know, speaking of that, we have in the last couple of 2 or 3 days or so, we have a pair of doves setting up housekeeping in our patio
Do you?
in one of our hanging plants.
Okay.
So we've been watching them for a few days. Obviously, they were watching us before they decided to settle in,
Yeah.
scoping us out. So we have the mama dove has been up there for a couple, 2 or 3 days. So yesterday, for the first time, I told my wife, I said, I want to go out there and turn the fountain on. But I don't want to, I don't want her to fly
Yeah, you
away.
don't want to mess it up.
So
Yeah.
I went out there very quietly. I plugged the fountain in, looked up. She was still there. Didn't seem bothered. So I'm going outside now and then. She knows we're there. Just having her get used to us
Yeah.
so that when we, if I have to sweep the patio or clean up, she's not going to fly away. And so far, she's not bothered. You know,
Yeah.
they're very smart. They know. I don't
Yeah.
think they see us as a threat at all.
And especially if they're doves from the city. I mean, they're
Yeah.
pretty, I think, accustomed to people. And, then it's good, though, that you do that because then I'm assuming right now she's sitting on eggs.
I think so, yeah.
So when those eggs hatch,
Right.
you're going to still want to be able to go in and out of there and have
Sure.
her feel comfortable with, because that's when they're going to really start to
Be protective.
be protected.
And the male does come and go. We've seen the
Right.
male come and go.
Right.
We've also had, in the past couple of 2 or 3 years, we've had hummingbirds set up nests, finches, sparrows, because we're back out of the way and it's very protected because there's a lot of crows around.
Hummingbirds are also one of those.
They're
that come-
aggressive.
They're aggressive, but they also, you get to know them. They come
Oh, yeah.
back to the same spot over and over again, and you can
As a
kind
matter
of
of
have
fact,
personalities.
We've had 3 years ago, we had hummingbirds hatch in our patio. And to this day, there's one that still flies into our patio, comes up to the window. He's looking around. I'm thinking,
Says, "Hey, Brian."
yeah, I think, you know what? I think maybe this is where you were given life in our patio. I think you hatched out of our patio. All right, that said, we got to take a break. Those on Biz Talk Radio. News coming up top of the hour. We are back at 6 minutes after. And again, as we mentioned every week, we do trust and do hope that you carry both hours, at least one of them. That'll suffice. And of course, those on Facebook Live, we continue. Do stay with us. This is Garden America. Welcome back to the show. Those on Biz Talk Radio, we welcome you too. If this is the second hour that you're listening to, welcome. We had a good first hour. Go to our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show. Check it out. Go to our website, URL, Tiger. We're still talking about URLs, gardenamerica.com. Of course, for those that really want to get technical, www.gardenamerica.com.
Rick answered our question about his. He asked about the Hanoki Cyprus, and
Right.
we asked him why that was a plant that he purchased, and his comment was, "I like Japanese gardens and plants. I have a new house, and my backyard needs more landscaping. The weather diversity here is crazy. I figure I have to try all the plants I like and see what happens." So
I like that approach.
He's just giving it a shot
To see what, and you know
because
what?
he
Good
likes
for him.
the plant.
You know, he's not afraid to fail.
No, exactly.
And if you're going to be a gardener, you can't be afraid to fail.
Yeah, and especially if it's a plant that you see and you like,
Right.
because you're going to want it in your garden.
Sure.
Right? I think this is Lila, but she wrote, "As a kid, I wouldn't eat tomatoes until I was 20 years old," when we were talking about
Right.
what vegetables you didn't like as a kid,
You
but
know
you
what?
eat
I
now.
think the same thing with me. I didn't like tomatoes either.
Really?
I mean, they were okay.
Oh, sliced tomato with a little bit of salt on it?
I was really,
so good.
I was really kind of vanilla about it. It's like, it's okay. I mean, I'll eat it, but well, now obviously tasting various tomatoes My taste buds have changed.
And I was going to say that could have been the issue because you were the generation that was a big like TV dinner generation, right?
Yeah.
When you were growing up, TV dinners became very popular.
Fast, instant.
Right.
Parents didn't want to cook.
Right.
Now, my mom did cook for us, but you're right.
No, but
Swanson TV dinners.
I was the tail end of the TV dinner generation.
Right.
They were still around, but I think that they kind of figured like we need to start making food again.
A little more healthy.
You know? And I kind of think at that time there wasn't the fresh produce that was the prior generation because the prior generation grew up with farmers markets, fresh produce.
Right.
So when you tasted a tomato, it was a tomato.
It was a tomato,
I think
right.
you and then I grew up where our tomatoes came from Guatemala and they're very watered down and it was just it was a good tomato for shipping, but it wasn't the best flavored tomato.
No, it was just kind of blah. It was like, it's a tomato.
You know, but now that you have a lot of varieties of heirloom tomato and you see these other ones, I'm sure your interest in tomato has changed.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we got 3 tomato plants growing right now. Just starting to see some little baby green tomatoes. But for some reason on this one bush, there was one that was ripe, and it was little. And I thought, well, it's really deep red. And I popped it in my mouth yesterday. It was delicious.
Yeah?
Delicious, yeah.
So were these one of the ones that I gave you?
Yeah,
so it
you
might have been sweet aperitif.
Yeah, you gave me. Now, is that the larger tomato?
No, that's the smaller one.
And what was the other one?
I don't remember. Thornburns terracotta, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it was. Thornburns terracotta.
It was already a small but ripe one.
But this is the one I'm talking about. Was from last year's tomato plant.
Okay.
Not this year's.
Okay.
But again, tomatoes. Once you plant them, they take off in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The growth is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, one day you don't need a tomato cage. The next day you better get a tomato cage because that thing is falling over.
And that's so true when it comes to the growing of tomatoes because you need to support them because then they end up just going all crazy and flopping all.
You have to. They'll get out of line quickly.
Yeah, and you can't prune them because you want that growth.
Of course, yeah. So you got to go with the tomato cage. But no, the tomatoes are really, really good.
Yeah.
So the bigger one that you gave me was that the
Thornburn terracotta.
Thornburn terracotta.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then Dana commented, "New business, portable chicken coops to rent."
Rent it? Yeah. Right.
You know what would be kind of neat to do is a community that was willing to actually step up and do something. But like there's a lot of parks, right? That would be a great idea for just community parks, meaning if there was a park that, had staff there that could watch over the chicken coop, because you're always going to have those people that steal the chickens, mess with the chickens, whatever. but if in a park, if you had this chicken coop set up and you could monitor it and in a park, move it around the park, the grass would be great in that city park. It's a good idea there.
Not a bad idea at all, Dana. Renting out portable chicken coops.
Yeah. Because they have those goats that do for fire abatement.
Right. Now, does that really work? I mean, I guess, well, you know what? Was it you last week or somebody said they were going to get a goat, to keep their grass trimmed or whatever?
Uh-huh.
And the person said, well, okay, but it's not just going to be your grass. Everything is going to be eaten.
And
everything around it's going to go down.
And that's why it's so good for fire abatement. If you have an area where, you want to clear the brush and everything around it,
right?
You bring these goats in and they just eat everything. And then people say, oh, well, what about, it just reseeds it because of the goat poop. But I guess the way that the goats process it, they do reseed some, but it's not bad. So it doesn't come back stronger the next year. It actually keeps it at bay. And I mean, it's better than going out there with a weed whacker and just hacking it all away or not doing anything at all.
Sure.
So,
hey, any questions, comments as you watch us live on Facebook? Let us know whether you've got something in ground or in pots, having trouble with it, or much like Rick. Hey, I bought this Hanoki Cyprus, right? That he bought and wanted to know more about it, which I guess we're still learning about that ourselves. But the point being is, let us know what you've got going, and we'll figure it out. We'll come up with an answer for you, or at least try to point you in the right direction.
And last week we were talking about garden tours. We were
How did that go, by the way?
Really well. They had a very successful event. So if you're going on one this weekend or there's one coming up, please let us know and we can put it out there for people, and no matter where you're at, to be able to announce the garden tours, because we really want to support local garden clubs, because they're great to their community and they do wonderful things. So let us know about any upcoming garden tours.
Okay, so what's going on in your backyard? You said last week that your wife's kind of funny. Every now and then she'll say, hey, how long have we had this? Or what is this? Because I brought up the point that, I take care of the area around our house, the HOA property. I take care of it anyway. And people come and go. And I'm thinking, hey, don't you want to stop and kind of look at, how about that hibiscus over there or the banana tree, And people just kind of get used to it until one day they see something. How long has that been there? 6 months.
Yeah.
You're just not noticing it. So what about you in your backyard?
So this weekend, I have a weekend at home, and I have a list of projects to do in my backyard. Because of the hot, dry weather, I am going to go through my irrigation system again to make sure everything's operating well. I have a eucalyptus. I planted this silver dollar eucalyptus, and the reason why I planted a silver dollar eucalyptus is I like the foliage.
And I imagine it doesn't grow as big as the giant ones, right?
Well, I cut it down, and because it's a bush. And if you do that with the eucalyptus, you get to harvest the foliage. And silver dollar eucalyptus is used a lot for like floral arrangements and drying and all of that. So I'm going to hack that down to nothing because it's that time that I kind of do that. So I'll hack down that. So if anybody's looking for any dried eucalyptus and you live in San Diego, let me know because I'm going to have a ton of it after this weekend.
But those in San Diego, obviously.
It's like right now, it's an 8-foot by 5-foot bush.
Wow.
And so I'm going to hack it all down. And then I have some of my podocarpus that I need to restake and straighten out and do some trimming there. And then I have some just general weeding and cleaning to do. But for the most part, things are looking pretty good.
Yeah, same with me. A lot of sweeping, a lot of cleanup. Now, even more cleanup now with the doves taking up residence, with the dove poop going around.
Yeah.
But no problem. It's good. I think it, that just shows a healthy environment in a lot of ways. Birds taking up residency in and around your area. And now that we have the fountain going, I've got bird species landing in the fountain taking a bath that I've never seen before. I mean, they're all over it's like, where'd you come from?
Yeah.
I see the sparrows, the finches. Now we've got some bigger blackbirds. No crows, obviously. But they all come by, take a little dip, and then go about their merry way.
I'm going to do my fertilizing. This is the first time I'm going to fertilize the Plumerias of the year. So I'm going to start. I've started to see the leaves come out on all of them now. So I figured it's okay to start fertilizing.
That's good for me to know as well.
So I'm going to start fertilizing my Plumerias. I'm going to really focus on Plumerias this year to try to get some better growth and flower production. I had pretty good last year, but I neglected them. So I'm going to see if I put a little extra effort in to see what happens.
You neglected? How do they do with your neglect?
Not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're pretty tenacious.
Yeah. I am, my long-term goal is to have a Plumeria farm because I have a nursery and I figure, if I have these Plumerias, I can take cuttings and then, use them in the nursery. But I need to get better growth before I start taking cuttings.
Have you always liked Plumerias?
I have. I just think that they're a fun plant with a pretty flower, and they have a fragrance.
Yeah, they do.
And they're easy. Meaning,
I think they are. Yeah, they're pretty easy.
John plant is a flower. It's got a fragrance, but roses can be difficult. I can walk away from my Plumerias for a week, and they'll be fine.
We got to take a break. I'm going to come back and talk about how easy it is to grow roses on the other side. So do stay with us. Those on Facebook Live, questions, comments, let us know. John is off this week. I'm Brian Main, along with Tiger Palafox. Welcome to the Garden America radio show for your weekend. And just like that, we are back from the break. Those on Biz Talk Radio, thank you for supporting our sponsors each and every week, and thank you for supporting Biz Talk Radio. I want to thank Stephanie, my contact at the network. I send her the shows each week. We package them up, we edit them, and they're on the air the following week. So those on Biz Talk Radio, this is last week's show. Again, if you want to watch us live, you got to go to our Facebook page, Garden America Radio Show. You can watch and interact no matter where you are, because we have people around the world now, Tiger, watching our show because we see you on Facebook.
Now, with our new camera system, too, we have the ability to kind of know which cameras are on.
Yeah, before we didn't.
Right.
Now the red light comes on.
Yeah, the little red light comes on. So we have to get a better camera presence, right? Because right now I know the camera's on me.
Right.
And you get to take a break now and don't have to be necessarily looking at it.
That's good that you say that. When the red light's off, I can scratch, I can do a few things.
Exactly.
But be careful because that red light, like it just did now, is going to come right back on. and you're on, baby.
So it's kind of fun. We'll see how John does. I don't think John ever
He
paid
doesn't
attention
care.
to the camera anyways.
You know what? He doesn't care what's the camera. He just, he shows up. What are we doing this week? Okay, where are we going to be? Fine, I'll be there. He's consistent. I will tell you that. John is consistent.
He is very consistent.
All right, you think roses are a little tougher to grow?
Than Plumeria, 100%.
Because I think they're very easy. I think that roses just kind of do their own thing. You got to trim them, of course.
You do, and that's not even the difficult part of it. It's the watering and general care. With some plants, you can get away from if they're in a pot. Something fell and then it worried me.
Oh, you know what? I think it was a leaf.
Yeah, from that ficus tree that's made of plastic.
Yeah, well, that's very realistic. The leaves will drop. That's why I paid more money for it.
Yeah.
Every now and then a leaf will drop.
That tree is slowly dying.
Yeah.
It's going to take like 200 years.
You're talking about watering, though, and I will agree that a plumeria can go a lot longer without water.
In a pot. In the ground, roses. I've got roses that I've never touched in my yard.
Right.
And they're fine. But in a pot, a plumeria, the stem is much thicker and made of a lot of water, so it can be middle of summer and you can skip a few waterings and they'll droop and they'll suffer, but they'll do okay. A rose, it's much more of a challenge. And then, like John has had, where he's had a plumeria, completely neglected it, and it still grows. Now, when he started fertilizing it, then he got flowers and better growth out of it. Where with a rose, if you completely neglect it in a pot, it will suffer by itself too.
But it will come back.
It will,
They're
but
strong.
maybe. They're tough.
Are you telling me that you've killed roses?
I'm trying to think. Yeah. No.
Really?
I don't know.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever killed a rose.
Really?
Now, they do get, again, if you don't water when you should, they'll let you know.
Yeah.
But I think they're very tenacious. I think that under a lot of circumstances, they'll endure.
Yeah. And then, with roses too, if you want the bush to look good, like you said before, trimming is very important. Where with plumeria, there's less trimming required, I feel, for it to look good.
If I'm guilty of anything with roses, I don't trim them back enough.
Yeah.
I kind of let them
Me
go,
too. Yeah.
But when you do trim them back, they look better. I think it's good for the rose, but be careful of the time of year that you're doing it.
Yeah. Because they want to grow during certain times of year. If you trim it back, it'll kind of affect it, stress it out a little bit.
What was the plant that your wife pointed out? You remember?
That we didn't know. I mean, a lot of times
she didn't know that was
trees.
out there?
A lot of times it's fruit trees. I'll say, hey, she'll ask, hey, we need lemons. And I'll say, there's a lemon tree in the backyard.
We have a lemon tree?
Exactly.
What else do you have? What kind of fruit trees do you have?
Lemon, lime, avocado, elderberry, fruit trees.
Now, do you have had good success with avocados?
This will be, I think, my first year of actually having avocados. Last year I planted it, and during when it should have been flowering and fruiting, I planted it, and that stressed it out. So this will be my first year where I'm expecting to get avocados from it.
What kind of avocados?
I think it's a bacon, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we talked about the different types of avocados last couple of 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
How there are so many compared to what you see in the store.
Yeah.
I think the number one that comes to mind is Haas, and then Fuerte.
Yeah.
As the big sellers, I guess, are the ones that people are very familiar with.
Yeah. Bacon's right up there. And then, those are probably the top 3 for sure.
So what is happening in your neck of the woods, Rick? We appreciate you letting us know why you bought that cypress. Just a basic curiosity, liking those kinds of things. Anybody else have anything going on in their garden? Let us know. Questions, comments on Facebook Live. Those on Biz Talk Radio. Again, tune in every week. Catch us on Facebook Live 6 minutes after the hour. That's every Saturday morning, and you can interact with us live.
Rick made a comment also that new housing going in and all over the place, and HOAs equals no chickens. I think HOAs are out of touch.
Well,
now,
I think
I will say, though,
I can understand why they might be, though.
Now, I will say, though, one of the big things, because there's a lot of chicken advocates out there, and a lot of people are able to turn over that because they can say no roosters, and then they can minimize the number of chickens in a community. so people can still have them. So
Don't you think
know.
that a lot of people involved with HOAs, they just think that, well, chickens are dirty. No, they're
Yeah.
dirty creatures. We're not going to have
that's, I
chickens
think,
around
the
here.
thing. They see the problem or the odor.
Right.
And if you're in a tight housing, I can see how that might be a bit much. Patty wrote, Brian, are your cats able to bird watch from inside?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And they go crazy. They bird watch. They rabbit watch. If it's out there moving around, if it's a critter, an animal, they're watching.
I love this because Veronica wrote, roses and orchids are easy. Plumerias are finicky. And I feel like she probably named the top 2 hardest to
Right?
grow plants,
Yeah.
the roses and orchids.
Some people just have a knack for certain plants, you know? I like this. Lisa, listening to you while hacking back my camellia tree.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, we like it. Those that are out there working and doing whatever you're doing in the garden and listening to us at the same time, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. Linda, I have a rose that always gets black spot. Ideas for treatment. So black spot is a disease.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are kind of carried over year after year. So when you do a treatment with a fungicide, you want it's kind of like when you go to the doctor and they give you a what are those, like a penicillin or
Penicillin shot?
amoxicillin.
Right.
You have to carry out the treatment, right? Otherwise, if you don't carry out the treatment, you don't get rid of it all the way, and then it comes back
Or
again.
here's another example. You go to a pharmacist,
Yeah.
and they'll say, take 2 of these a day for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
Every
And
day
you
at a
have
certain
to
time.
you have to finish it. Even though if you
Right.
get better, you need to finish it out,
using
right?
it. Same with what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and so with black spot, you really need to carry out the treatment with the fungicide. And then, a lot of those issues come from when people leave old foliage on the rose or
Right.
let the roses or foliage fall to the ground and then they don't clean it again. So if you can, Linda, make sure to try to every year strip the foliage, when it's that time of year. So, for a lot of us, it's January, February. Make sure that you strip the foliage. Don't leave anything on there. If you can use a fungicide or insecticidal oil at that time of year, what is it?
We've got to take a break.
Okay.
I hate to interrupt
I will
you.
continue after Linda. So
Right,
keep
you,
listening.
with your train of thought. We have to stay on time for the network for Biz Talk Radio. So do stay with us. I'm Brian Main, talking Palafox. John is off this weekend. Going to take a quick break. Back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio. Our friends on the network. Stay with us. Okay, just like that, if you're tuned in on Facebook Live, we are back. Very short break. Those on Biz Talk Radio, a little bit longer because we have some great sponsors that support the show and the network, and we do appreciate that. So before we took the break, prior segment, we were talking about black spots. Tiger was explaining about how to get rid of them, what they are. We made the comparison that you go to the doctor and he writes you a prescription. You're told to take that prescription for the next 2 weeks or so, even if you're better, to keep taking that prescription until it's gone.
Yeah, and so with black spot, you're going to use things like copper soap. So that way, when you get rid of it, it's gone, and then it won't come back. But if you leave foliage on the plant, or if you let the foliage fall to the ground and it stays there, it'll keep coming back year after year after year. And then, as John has talked about, roses have been bred, and some of these plants are more susceptible to those problems. And,
Right.
And ways for those plants to be that you can control them in the future are make sure to lace out the foliage so that way there's not a lot of dense growth. Don't water the foliage itself so that way you don't get disease bred within the foliage, there. And, if it's in a sunny area. So, those are ways to prevent it from in the future from coming back. But I think the treatment, number one, is the way that you get rid of it. And then you can spot treat it there afterwards.
Now, we've got my cousin who lives in Nebraska.
Okay.
Says that aviary influenza is an issue here.
Bird flu?
Bird flu. Yeah.
Is with the plants or just
we were talking about birds and stuff. Yeah, I know. Bad segue in my part. But just getting back to the birds and the issues that they have.
Now, is bird flu?
I mean, I've always heard it. I've always heard of bird flu.
Does it go from birds to people?
I
can't remember.
Don't know that much about it. Perhaps Ben can let us know.
Yeah, because that might, like you're saying, be a reason not to have birds around.
Mm-hmm.
Bird flu. It's like swine flu. Wasn't that?
Swine flu.
Isn't that another one?
Hong Kong flu from back in the day.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Okay.
Linda says thank you for that.
Yeah, so black spot is one of those ones, and it's tough. It's not like rust or mildew. Those are much easier treated. Black spot is one that you kind of really have to.
You got to work with it a little bit.
You do, and you can't just do a couple. With rust and mildew, you do a few treatments, and you're like, oh, it's fine, it goes away, and you treat it if it comes back. Black spot is one that's within the plant itself, and you got to really take your time and treat it well.
Hey, Dale's got a question I think we can both answer, Tiger.
Oh, yeah.
Can I grow a Plumeria in a pot for its life?
Yes,
and the answer is yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the only one consideration that you need to take is the size of the pot to the size of the plant.
Right.
There could be a very big Plumeria in a very small pot, but then you run the risk of it falling over, breaking, doing.
Now, would that small small pot, would it stunt the growth of the Plumeria?
Plumeria, a lot of what they need is all within the stem.
Okay.
I've seen in the ground a Plumeria that's 8 to 10 feet tall by 8 to 10 feet wide, and it's fallen over, and it's just because the root system was only a couple feet deep.
I would say get as big a pot as you can, Dale.
Yeah, I mean, if you want it to keep growing, but you could simply just trim the Plumeria and have it stay in that pot. So if you have a pot that's a foot wide by a foot deep, you can easily grow a Plumeria in there for its life, but you just got to trim the Plumeria. You just don't want it to fall over.
Right, because it's top heavy.
Oh, very much. And then when the wind catches those big leaves on it. Yeah.
Right.
I will say, though, and John ran into this issue, too, where, you will need to feed it if you want it to bloom because the soil won't sustain
it's not
the
enough.
Plumeria.
Now, some of the soils that we do recommend, Happy Frog, things like that, which is one reason why John and you and I like it, is because those soils contain a lot of the nutrients and things that, in the old days, you'd have to buy the soil and then add those nutrients to the soil.
Right.
But some of these better potting soils have a lot of the nutrients, but still, that said, you've got to feed the Plumeria.
Yeah, I mean, those soils have fertilizer in them. They're organic blends of chicken manure, bat guano, cottonseed meal, alfalfa meal, all kinds of stuff in there. But no matter what, within a year or two, the plants have used up kind of what was in there, and you're going to have to sustain it and put it back in. And we talked about, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but when we talked to the Plumeria grower here in Southern California, they use that Grow More Hawaiian plant food.
Right.
And when John started using it, he said his, non-blooming Plumeria started blooming again. So
what kind of food for the Plumeria?
So Grow More Hawaiian.
And that's GRO, I think, right?
Yeah. Grow More Hawaiian something. Let me see. I can find it real quick. Grow More Hawaii fertilizer.
Because that is important.
Yeah.
For all you
Hawaii
Plumeria
Bud and
growers.
Bloom.
Say that again?
Grow More, GROW.
Oh, it is? Okay, there is W.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the Hawaiian Bud and Bloom. And it's a 5-50-17. So that's only 5 nitrogen,
and it's
50
heavy
phosphorus.
It's heavy on the phosphorus.
And then 17 is the potash. So, it's a heavy phosphorus fertilizer, and that's the way you get those plumerias to bloom. And, John, who's always been an advocate, really not super on the phosphorus, because a lot of our native soils
has phosphorus anyway.
Has plenty of phosphorus in it.
You don't need it.
But for some reason, that particular product works well when it comes to making those plumerias bloom. So that's the one that we were recommended to by a Plumeria grower, and John has tried it, and it worked out well for him.
Okay, good. I hope that helps you, Dell. Good luck with your Plumeria. Carol as well.
And then who else had a wide range of fertilizers? Do you remember the fertilizers that were given to us from Tatiana?
Yeah, I still have them in those bottles.
Do you remember the name? So Tatiana is from Top Tropicals in Florida, and they are a tropical plant grower, and they released a line of fertilizers specifically designed for a lot of tropical plants.
Right, specifically for them.
Yeah, and so they have a wide selection, and it'll be like this one is for hibiscus, this one is for plumeria, this one is for bananas, all that stuff. And so they were able to really get specific in terms of what each plant needs. So, if you search Top Tropicals, their line of fertilizers
Right.
is on their website too.
And they have a list of everything. It's really spelled out well.
Yeah.
You know, what product is for your particular need or your particular plant.
Yeah, and I've tried them, and I like them too. So
And I told you this a couple of weeks ago. I was having a lot of leaf drop on my citrus.
that's right.
And I mixed up some plant food, mixed up some of Tatiana's concoction.
Yeah.
And the very next day, the leaf drop stopped. I mean,
Really?
it was immediate.
Wow.
It was immediate. So obviously, it needed food. It needed a little fertilizer.
Yeah.
Even though I do the Milorganite periodically,
Yeah, that's just your all-purpose
it needed
general vitamin right
it
there. But
needed
then
that food.
every once in a while, it's
Yep.
good to take that extra something or another.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So so check out those two fertilizers. But you should be able to order those online. Shouldn't
And
be
we're
a
talking about
problem.
my cousin talked about the cost of chickens is up. And
Oh,
then Patty says
like chicken, the food, the
and,
meat.
yeah, and eggs are up. She says 400%. Everything is up. You go to the store now, it's $1 more for just about everything.
Yeah,
And you driving that truck, bet
Oh,
you love
gosh.
those gas prices, right?
I know, man.
And depending upon where you are in the country, here in California, we're over $6 a gallon. Other places are like $4, $4.55, and they're screaming. It's like, well, hey, welcome to California.
Yeah.
It's it's incredible.
And you know what the price of the chicken, the eggs? Okay, when we were talking earlier about chickens are a very easy,
Right.
an easy animal to keep. In the sense of like you feed it, give it some water, and that's all you really need. They don't even need a big home. Eggs are also a very easy a product. Okay, in the sense of when a chicken lays an egg, you just go get it from
Go
it.
get the egg.
You put it in your refrigerator. You can have it the same day. They last for weeks. I mean, somebody might correct me if I'm wrong,
Right.
but they last a long time.
There's an expiration date,
you
but
know.
they last more than a few days.
Yeah, so it's nothing. Even a tomato. When you go pick that tomato and it's kind of ripe, you've got to
You got to eat it.
you've got to eat it because it'll go too ripe on you real quick.
Now, here's the question. Do you keep tomatoes in the refrigerator or on the counter? And I think you leave them on the counter, I think.
I think
Somebody
so, too.
correct me on Facebook
Yeah.
as far as keeping tomatoes, but I think they do better not being refrigerated. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. But I kind of like to keep all produce. I only buy produce when I'm going to use it. So I keep everything on the counter. I don't like putting produce in the refrigerator because I forget about it.
Really?
So I only buy it when I need it.
But that's what the refrigerator is for. You forget what's in there?
And then it just goes bad.
Do you leave your milk out on the counter?
No, but that's different.
Well, I don't want to forget my milk.
Oh,
Leave the milk on the counter.
No, but the produce goes in those bins down below, and it's mixed with my kids.
You don't want to bend over and
It's mixed with my kids' snacks and everything else that I forget about what produce is in there. I forget I had an onion or tomato or anything else. So,
hey, we're going to take a break here, keeping on time for our network, our friends on Biz Talk Radio. We have one more segment coming up, so do stay with us. Still plenty of time for your questions and comments as we continue. John is off. He's back next week. I'm Brian Main. Tiger Palafox, thank you for tuning in to the Garden America Radio Show. Going to take time out for these messages on Biz Talk Radio. Stay with us. We've never gone below 30. 30.
yeah.
Okay, we are back, and this is our final segment for your Saturday morning or maybe Saturday afternoon, depending upon when you're listening to us. Remember to go to our website, gardenamerica.com, cruise around, see what's there, check it out. Also, our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show. You can watch this show starting this afternoon and all previous shows as well. Be sure to like us, be sure to share, be sure to subscribe, do all those things that in this digital world people are telling you what to do.
This new multi-camera system just gives me way too much information to follow. I'm not real savvy with everything, but it tells me like what we're streaming rate is, how much time here, how much time there, different things like that.
So you're like in a TV station.
Yeah.
You're like the switcher, the guy in the back that runs the cameras,
Yeah.
and has all this information being fed to him at the same time while you're still trying to do the show.
Exactly. And, but it's fun and it's kind of different. So, we're going to continue to have some fun with it as the weeks go on.
Now, Linda says, do not refrigerate tomatoes.
Do not.
Do not. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I thought, but I'm glad you cleared that up, Linda. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So I'm a big counter. You know what's funny is
Out of sight, out of mind, as far as you're concerned.
We have a house cleaner, and I leave butter on the counter because
you want it soft.
I want it soft. I have butter in my refrigerator.
Right.
When we're baking, that's the butter I use is what's in the refrigerator because I'm either going to melt it or whatever I'm going to do with it. But when I want toast with butter on it,
I know exactly
I
what you're
cannot
talking
use
about.
refrigerated butter. And so, but she always puts it in the refrigerator. Yeah.
No matter what.
No matter what. She puts it in the refrigerator. And I put it out back
Otherwise,
out
is she good? Does she do a good job in the house?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, exactly. So
But that butter's got to go back.
back in the fridge.
Mantequilla?
Mantequilla, yeah, butter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so that's so funny because I leave butter on the refrigerator. And then eggs, so fresh eggs, they can stay on the counter. And then I heard that the eggs you buy from the grocery store, they've done something to those eggs, right? And they should go in the refrigerator.
They have to be refrigerated, the ones you buy at the store.
That's what I remember. I remember we having this talk when John was talking about
We just had
eggs.
our tomato question answered, and then Veronica says, do not put onions in the refrigerator.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Here's what I do. I buy onions.
And all you have to do is peel a layer, and you got a good nether layer.
I know, but here's the thing. I'll buy an onion, and I'll forget that I have it.
See? That's why you don't go in the refrigerator.
And because I want to buy it to chop up for tuna or for something else. I'm a big onion guy. And 2 weeks later, my wife says, Dana says, we got to toss the onion.
Yeah.
What onion? The one you bought 2 weeks ago that you didn't use.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. See? That's why you don't keep it in the refrigerator. And onions are one of those super easy produce because all you do is peel a layer and you got a brand new onion.
Right? I know.
It's so easy.
Peeling
like that.
back the proverbial onion.
Yeah. So onions are definitely one of those ones that you keep on the counter.
And I love onions. But yeah, you're right. Out of sight, out of mind in a lot of cases.
And I like growing scallops because they are just the right size to get onion for when you need an onion, but you don't need to harvest a whole onion.
True. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, absolutely.
Like when you buy an onion, you usually don't use the whole onion at once. And so you end up chopping it, and then you leave some and you put it back, and you chop a little bit more and you leave some and you put it back. Where if you grow an onion, that's tough. But if you grow scallops, you can harvest 2 or 3 of them for your onion flavor of whatever you need, and then you leave the other ones in the ground, and then you just keep harvesting.
So apparently, do not put tomatoes in the refrigerator. Do not put onions in your refrigerator.
See, nothing should be refrigerated.
I don't know about nothing, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Your chicken.
Don't put your live chickens in the refrigerator.
Yeah, don't put those in the refrigerator.
We'll do our best to have her back, Lisa.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I texted her and nothing either.
Didn't respond to the text. I mean, I think we scared her off.
Yeah?
Maybe. I don't know. She seemed a little hesitant when she went on the air.
Yeah, she was not. You were the only one that talked to her, so I don't know what you did.
We haven't had her on before, have we?
No, we have not.
So she's a newbie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
You talk to her this week.
Yeah.
See what happens.
I'll follow up.
Apologize if Brian scared her away.
She's like, hey, I will come back on as long as Brian isn't there.
Here's Jimmy again.
Hey, Jimmy.
Did the Milorganite finally come in for retail sale? You have it, right?
Yes.
Jimmy, we have Milorganite. He has Milorganite. Mission Hills Nursery.
At Mission Hills Nursery. Yes.
Call ahead, Jimmy. Call ahead. Have him set some aside.
Yeah, exactly. There's
if you have the yips.
there. I know 100% it's there because when we were at the show last week at the nursery, somebody asked, and it was there, and I saw it still there.
I think that was the first time that I didn't walk away with something from your nursery.
Oh yeah.
I don't mean stealing it.
You had to run away. Remember, you had to go somewhere.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I was kind of rude. Hey, where'd you go? And you're all having to break things down.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Jimmy, Milorganite available at Mission Hills Nursery and Fort Stockton here in San Diego.
Perfect, right? And so, yeah, Milorganite's a good one fertilizer to use. So we like using Milorganite.
We've got exactly 2 minutes.
Really?
And that's how quick this show has gone. And we thank you for tuning in, those on Biz Talk Radio and Facebook Live. John is back next week. He'll regale us with stories of Idaho.
So if you are a gardener, you understand that this time of year is the biggest time of year for people to go to the garden center. The most inventory in general
This
is
is
going to
it
be
right
is going to
now,
be
right?
from now, all the way into June. And even for the East Coast nurseries, their inventory is fully stocked at this moment, and they will carry it into June as well. So, get out there, go buy some flowers, go buy some plants, go buy a house plant, vegetable, whatever is going to, make you happy. And because there's a lot out there right now. Have some fun.
And we're still monitoring, I think, to some degree during the week, our Facebook page. If somebody has a question, myself or Tiger, we log on now and then. So if you have any questions that come up during the week and you don't want to forget or don't want to wait until the show, post them on our Facebook page, and somebody should get back to you.
Yeah,
or at least give you an answer in a timely manner.
And then we'd love to have those questions for the show the following week.
Yes.
We will answer you, but then it gives us good info to share with our listeners
Right,
for the show.
because if you have that question, probably 100 other people have the same question.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think we can slowly wrap things up. Good job,
Awesome.
Tiger. You know what?
Hey, well done. No guest. Just you and me.
No John. And we did it. I think we pulled it off.
New system.
Right. Oh, my gosh. The Wi-Fi was stable.
Yes.
So let's try to do our best to get the Ethernet connection next week.
Of course. That's the only way.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Without you, there'd be no show. We appreciate your support, those that tune in every week and those that are new to the show. So until next week, 6 minutes after the hour, no matter if you're on the East Coast or West Coast would be 8:06, Eastern Time Zone, 11:06. John Bagnasco is back next week. Until then, I'm Brian Main for the entire crew. John Bagnasco, Tiger Palafox, have yourself a good rest of your weekend, a good week, and we'll do it again next week right here on Garden America. Till then, take care.